You come around late at night, looking for some arms to hug and hold you tight. Well, I've got two of those, strong as they can be. Still don't expect no more than good, clean fun you see. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. What you get is what you see in plain view. You want honest, here it is, sad but true. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. On such short notice, such short notice.
Can't get away.
Test 1, 2, test. You should be able to hear me. Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, because I don't know if you can. Okay. Good Lord Almighty. Okay. Do this. And I think you guys should be able to hear me, because I'm using a little different setup tonight, because I am running through an amplifier, believe it or not, and a speaker, and it's mic'd, so very different than my usual Helix setup, but just wanted to try something different. You can hear me. All right, cool. That's what I wanted to know. All right, let me just get myself settled here, get all my windows and all that fun stuff. Land the space shuttle, as Dawn would say. I don't know if Dawn's in here. All right, cool. So yeah, that was coming through an amplifier, and I'll show you that amp. We talked about it last week that I was interested in getting an amplifier and getting a Marshall, and I decided to go with the JCM 800 Studio Series, which is a 20-watt head, which is incredibly loud. You wouldn't believe it for 20 watts what comes out of that thing. But I'll show you that in just a bit, and that was mic'd. I mic'd my 212 Mesa cabinet and going through my mixer and going through here. There's still a bunch of little settings that I have to do because I haven't really tweaked it to go live or anything. It's just kind of, set it and just see what happens type of thing. But once I start recording with that setup, I'll have it better figured out. But for tonight, I figured, why not? Let's just go live and try it. It's very different. It's very different in here. Now, I'll say this about the Helix. When you're doing something live on the internet or on YouTube or whatever, the Helix is much easier to set up and get sounding really good. But when you're playing in the room with the speakers or whatever, because with the Helix it comes out of my little studio monitors here, which sounds great and everything, but it feels much different coming out of a real tube amplifier blasting through two 12-inch speakers in the room you're in. So it feels very different. But I have to say the setup of the Helix going through the audio interface and all that stuff is a lot easier. Give me just 1 minute. I'll put my standby up here. Do that. Alrighty then. Let's see who's in the chat tonight. We've got the regular crew, I think. We go up. Zach Thong, first guy in, of course. Jose Benito. How are you, my friend? We've got Gabe. Exotic Gabe's in the house. How are you? Nice to see you. Brian S. Brian S. is waiting on a similar guitar to what I was playing, but it's a different color. But amazing guitar. Can't wait to see that. Hope you get that very soon. We got Jamal. How are you? Janice Lala's in here. I don't know if Janice is driving tonight. She was driving earlier, apparently, from what I heard. Rick Hefner. How are you? Dan of NJ. Ready for the unexpected. Yes, I've got something very unexpected for you folks tonight. But you'll have to wait a little bit to see that. And we have Don. Here's Don. Speaking of Don, there you go. There's an intro for you. I don't know, Don, did you get your SG yet? We've been bugging you to get that SG. You better get it soon because they're going to sell out. That 61 reissue is pretty hot right now. Everybody that I know has been getting one and they've been loving it. So you better get on that, Don. Guitar Man 45, how are you? Just going down my chat real quick here, folks. Bear with me, and we will get through this. Clive Live's in here. Blackjack Guitar. Or Guitar Nut. I don't know. I guess it's Blackjack Guitar now, but I always say Guitar Nut. Let's see. What else we've got here? We got a few more folks that I saw. If I can just get myself down here. Cool. All right. I think Daniel. Oh, Daniel Horsley's in here. How are you, my friend? I was going to play some Skinner tonight. I should have since Daniel's here. But I figured I'd play the custom. And when you're playing the custom, you tend to, that wasn't Ozzy, by the way. That was a band called Lilac that cover Ozzy. So when I can find a really good cover version of a classic song like that or an AC/DC song or something like that, I'll usually pick that to play along to because YouTube seems to be a little less strict when you're playing along to somebody who's covered a song like that than you were to be playing the original song for whatever reason. Because last week I ended the show with an AC/DC song, which was the actual AC/DC track of Have a Drink on Me, and it got blocked. So I had to go back into my video the next day and remove that part of the video. Otherwise, it would not be able to be played anywhere. But if I played a version of that song, if I could find it from a band like Lilac or somebody else that did a cover version, I could play through and it wouldn't be blocked. It would be demonetized. I'm not monetized anyway. I can monetize my channel, but I don't because I'm not really into it right now. It's not my goal when I come on here to do that. It's just to come here and have fun and play and talk to you guys right now. That's the goal. So I don't really monetize, so it doesn't bother me if the artist or the publishing company takes the money, if there's any money to be had, which I doubt it. So, but the artists themselves, like the Eagles and AC/DC and probably other ones, Guns N' Roses and stuff, if you're playing the original track, they're going to block the whole video. So something to keep in mind. Okay, Rick Hefner's in here. We've got a few more people jumping in. Pooh Ninja's in here. How are you, Pooh? Don says, hey, let me go to this chat here so I can bring up, there we go. Don says he's in no hurry. Gonna Frankenstein is Gelvin presently. Well, you should be in a hurry because I'll tell you, you'd be very at home with that SG. Go try Mitch's. If you're not that far from Mitch, where he lives, go try it. I'm telling you, you'll be sold. We're a bad influence in here, so if you're not ready to buy guitars or stuff, and you come into this chat or some of the other ones that we're in the community of, it can be a bad influence because it can influence you to go out and get some more stuff, which I have done in the last week. So let's get to some of that. First off, some people were asking me what strings I use now. Through some of the comments I have on my channel. So I figured I'd just show you what I'm using now as far as strings go. I used to use NY XLs, but in the last, 6-8 months or whatever, I've switched over to the Ernie Balls. First of all, they're less expensive, and I wanted to try a couple of different sets out, and I actually like them a lot, so I just stuck with them. So this is the ones I'm currently running on most of my guitars. So 10.5 gauge is the gauge that I'm using on most of my Gibsons. The Telecaster, I believe, is a 10, a little lighter, but not that much. So yeah, these are the Mega Slinkies. There you go again. For those, the NYXLs are great strings. There's no problem with them. Then they last very long. It's just that they're pretty expensive, especially here in Canada. And I wanted to try some different stuff. I did try a company called Stringjoy that I really liked as well. They're out of Nashville, but you got to order them online, and it does take a while to get them. Last time I ordered a set, it took something like 3 weeks or something crazy to get them. And again, when you pay the shipping and all that stuff, it's a lot of money. So I just figured these Ernie Balls are really, really good for what you get. And you can buy like a 10-pack and a 5-pack and stuff like that, and good value with that stuff. So for those who were asking that, there you go. Let me see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here in the chat rooms. All right, cool. And Janice says she's driving, but I should be. She's going to a jam tonight. Cool. Yeah, you guys in the States are really getting through this COVID thing a lot better than we are up here in Canada, I'll tell you. Because I see a lot of video footage and stuff from some places in the States, and everything seems to be back to normal, where here it's like mask and lockdowns, and it's just never ending for some reason. So anyway, speaking of that, I am tomorrow, which I should bring my GoPro with me. That'd be pretty entertaining. I'm going for my first COVID shot. Yeah, a lot of you guys in here from the States have already got 2 shots, but I haven't even got one yet. So tomorrow is my day to get mine. So I'm not looking forward to that because, as most of you know in the chat room here, I'm not a big fan of needles, and I've had some pretty crazy episodes in the past when it comes to needles. So tomorrow is my day. So I thought I should bring my GoPro and then film the whole process. And if I do end up on the floor after that needle, then it would make for an entertaining video for you guys. But I'm not sure they're going to let me do that because privacy rights and all that stuff. It is at a local a local pharmacy that I'm going to. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. There you go. Daniel Orsley says it's getting better. He's booked a couple of gigs. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad that things are getting normal somewhere because we really need to get something going here in Canada. Otherwise, we'll still be in the well into next year, even the way they're going. Jamal's got both his shots. You didn't get sick? Good. Well, I hope I don't get sick because, again, my first shot is tomorrow. I work and then I'm doing this live stream for work and that, and right after that I go for my shot in the afternoon. But they say usually the next day is when you get like the flu symptoms and all that stuff. And I've got an event taking place the next night, so not tomorrow, but Wednesday night for work that I need to conduct a live stream with a bunch of people from the West Coast, like physicians and stuff. So I really hope that I'm not like full-blown flu symptoms and everything trying to produce a live stream for work at that point. But I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'm glad, Jamal, you didn't. I'm getting the Pfizer one. I don't know if that makes any difference, but we will have to see at that point. Let's see. Just checking out my stream. Alan Robinson, how's it going? Which vaccine? Yeah, I'm getting the Pfizer. I'm getting a Pfizer one. So I don't know. Apparently that one is not so bad, but who knows? Everybody's different, right? Your body reacts to medication differently. Everybody's got a different kind of reaction to them. So I don't know. I don't usually get colds and stuff, so maybe that's a good thing. Who knows? I'll have to wait and see. So I've been on this journey to try to get my setup, with the tube amp and going back into that whole world where I kind of went away from it for a long time. And like anything, you get not bored with what you have, but you want to try some different things. And I've always liked tube amp. It's just that for me, convenience, it wasn't the right thing. So now I'm trying to get back into it with a different type of setup where I can actually use the tube amp and all its power in a manageable way now that I have that Fryette power station that I'll show you as well. If I didn't have that Fryette power station, I don't think a tube amp would be very practical in my setting here in this studio, because as you'll see when I show you where my volume is on that amp and where the gain is, or the preamp volume, you should call it, on the JCM 800. If I'm not running through that Fryette and I'm at that volume, it is incredibly loud. It is not going to happen. Not in here. I mean, as soon as you touch the string, it's almost like a concussion blast from the speaker. It's insanely loud. And for me, a tube amp needs to be, like, especially if you're buying it to create a certain sound, whether it's a Plexi or a JCM 800 or a Mesa or triple rectifier or whatever, it has a real sweet zone as far as the volume that you need to be at in order to get that amp to react and give you that tone. And most of the time, it's pretty loud. Now, unless you've got an amp that has a master volume, a lot of the Friedmans have that, and you can adjust that and still, get some really, really good tone out of it and still manage your volume. But especially the JCM 800s and the Plexis, you got to get them up there. And if you don't have anything that's going to attenuate that, it's going to be hard. And that Fryette, the reason I bought that was to give me that option with tube amps and also run my Helix through it and run through a real speaker cabinet, such as the Mesa that I bought. And it makes all the difference in the world. And the Fryette has been renowned to be like one of the most, if not the most transparent unit as far as attenuation goes. So I've tested that with that amp. I've put it at a low volume or whatever, and then I've ran it through the attenuator, and I've turned the attenuator on and off. So you can basically see, okay, this is the amp by itself, and this is when I turn on the attenuator to match the volumes, and there is zero difference in the tone. So that tells me that that Fryette is not adjusting the tone of the amp. It's just basically bringing it down the volume of it. So that helps a lot, and it really sounds great. So I'm glad that I made that purchase of the Fryette. It's giving me that option to use tube amps in a lot more manageable way. The other thing that the Fryette has done for me is that amp is 20 watts, and the Fryette is a 50-watt power amp, a tube power amp. So any amp you plug into it instantly then turns into a 50-watt amp. So you could be playing live, and if you had the 20 watts, and maybe you're playing a bigger place or whatever, you can still use that 20 watt through that Fryette, crank up the Fryette, and then you're really blasting 50 watts out, which is more than enough for any venue that I will ever, attempt to play. I'm pretty sure festivals or whatever I end up, doing in the future. So that definitely is a must for me, is that Fryette power station. Let me just go back to the chat real quick, and then I'll switch. I'll give you the iPhone camera view of that setup. James Severin, how are you? Customcote. Yes, I played the custom. I will play another song later. I think somebody was asking for Whitesnake last show, and I played AC/DC instead, and I said I would do the Whitesnake one this week. So that'll be a little later in the show. Guitar Man 45, I'm going for my first shot next week as well. Well, good luck, brother, and let's hope that these shots work. I got both shots in March, Janice says. You're lucky. We are not going to get our second shot, according to, I don't know, news or whatever. Probably, for me, probably around August range, I think, unless something changes drastically and they get a lot more doses in Canada than they were expecting. It's going to be August or even September for my second shot, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but that's what it is. Don says he had both Pfizers. You should be fine. Well, I hope so, buddy. I hope so. Just the needle part freaks me out enough. Once it's in me, who knows what's going to happen as far as the side effects, but I'll keep it on the positive note and see what happens. I found out yesterday there's a long McQuaid in Coburg. Well, there should, I wasn't sure if there was, but yeah, there must be. It's supposed to be 3 weeks, well, here in Canada, my friend, they're giving everybody shots, and they're allowing up to 3 months before the second one, just in order to get everybody at least one dose by the end of June. So that's where they're at. Hey, Lars Guitars in here. No, you did not miss the surprise yet. It's coming, though. All right. So I did get back into some pedals as well, and one of the pedals that I've been trying out this week, and trying out because I want to put something in the loop. The amp does have an effects loop, but the Fryette has an effects loop as well, and I'm running the pedals through the Fryette effects loop because that way I'm getting the full clean amp right into the Fryette. I'm not engaging an effects loop, which sometimes on some amps, I don't think it does on that Marshall. I haven't really tested it. It sometimes can tweak your tone or adjust the gain a little bit when you're actually going through an effects loop in an amp. So I bypass that totally. So I use the Fryette's effects loops, which is really, really, really good. It doesn't affect the tone at all. So I'm going through that. But reverbs and delays and choruses and stuff like that, I want to run through that effects loop. So this is one of the pedals that I'm trying out. This is a RV6. It's a Boss reverb pedal, which is actually very good. I mean, it has a really cool setting on it. One of the settings it has on it is dynamic. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that button right at the end. It's hard to, you can't really see it, but there's a button there at the end, this one right on this side, that is kind of modes for reverbs. You get spring, plate, right, and all that stuff. But there is a mode called dynamic on here. And what's cool about the dynamic mode is you set your tone for the reverb. So if you want darker, brighter, and then the time, which is, less or more reverb, I guess. you set that, and then the level here gives you how much you want in the mix or not. But that dynamic knob, when you put it on dynamic, what's really cool about it is the harder you pick. So if you pick really, really hard, like you're getting aggressive, like rhythm and stuff, you want less reverb to be activated at that point. So it kind of clamps down that reverb so it doesn't really saturate your sound with reverb. It just gives you a little bit. Now, if you lighten up your picking and you play more like a cleaner tone or whatever, and you want more ambience and more reverb, it does that automatically. That's why they call it dynamic, because it adjusts to your style of playing as you're playing. Now, I've played with it a little bit over the weekend. I got it from the music store. They were really nice to lend me a couple of pedals just to bring home and to try out. I've got to bring whatever I'm not keeping back tomorrow. And I won't be keeping this one just because I'll show you the other one that I'm decided to keep instead of this one. But it is a good pedal. I mean, anybody that's looking for a good reverb pedal, it's not that cheap. I think it's about $220 Canadian, so I'm not sure what that would be in US, but it is up there. But it is a Boss pedal. Obviously, Boss makes some great pedals, great stuff. And it sounds good. It's got all kinds of reverb. It's got room, hall, plate, spring. It's got a modulate, so it gives you some chorus effect in there as well. It's got that dynamic mode, like I said. It's got a shimmer mode. I really haven't played with that much. And then it has one that gives you a little bit of delay with the reverb in one. So it's actually a pretty cool pedal, but I won't be keeping this one just because I'll show you in my setup, which I decided to go with. I just prefer that. So I prefer the delay, and I'll show you which delay I chose. And it gives me a little bit of that. I'm not looking for reverb more than I'm looking for a little bit of that ambient or echo behind a hit. Not a lot. Like I had it in like I can play it later. You'll hear it a little bit, but it's not like crazy amounts, just a little bit in the mix. And I found that the delay worked better for my setup with the amp. So I'm going to keep the delay for now. And if I find down the road that I want to add a reverb or something like that, then I'll do that. But right now, I think I'm going to keep the delay. So let me go and turn this camera on here, see if I can figure this out. All right, so let's go to the iPhone camera. There it is. There you can see my desk. It's pretty messy right now, right? It's got all my junk. There it is. Now you can see what I'm looking at. There's all my monitors and cameras and light. All right, so let me switch this this thing here, so you'll probably see the back of my head because I'm not going to change that camera. But here's the amp. I'm going to bring my mic over here. You should be able to see the amp now. So this is a JCM 800, right? All right, let me bring this over here and do this. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, good. So have a really good look at that master volume. This is where I've got that set and the preamp. Pretty much wide open. I mean, they're at 8, both of them. And if I didn't go through that attenuation unit, the Fryette power station, there would be no way I could stand in the same room or this current room that I'm in with this amp, because it is a powerhouse. And the Plexi version of this amp is apparently even more as far as the loudness that comes out of it. They are both 20 watts. You do have a switch here. It gives you low and high, which that means you're giving you the full 20 watts on high, and on low that gives you the 5-watt version. Be honest with you, when I put it into the 5-watt version, I'm not seeing a huge cut in volume, a little bit, but I prefer the high. For me, it seems that the amp is wide open at that point, and tone and everything is a lot brighter, in my opinion. So I keep it on the high version, and then I set my settings as you see them here. So presence, I've got it up a little over half. Bass right down the middle. The middle knob, depending on the guitar I'm using, I'll play with that a little bit. I typically go half or a little bit more than half, as you see it here. Treble, just a little bit more than half, just to brighten up the sound while I was playing with Les Pauls. If I'm playing my Tele, then you're probably going to roll that back a little bit. And again, the master and the preamp, I turn them right there. And when I'm at that's where the sweet zone for that amp is, what it's known for that crazy good crunch, distortion, power behind it. So it is loud, but if you run it through an attenuation unit, like I'll show you in a second, it is where that amp should live, in my opinion, as far as that tone. If I want a clean tone, I just roll down the volume on my guitar, and I've got a nice clean tone with a little bit of dirt. I don't like completely clean. I like to have a little bit of edge to it. If I pick a little louder, I can get more. If I pick lighter, it's a lot cleaner. So that's the way that I'm going to run, having a clean sound when I'm running this rig. As far as the pedals go, here's the two pedals that I'm only running two pedals, and there they are. One is the Boss the Super Overdrive, right? The SD1. And I'll go right down. I can't really bring the mic down that well, maybe a little bit here. So you can see the settings that I've got on that pedal. I've turned the level way up, and I've turned the drive way down, and then the tone knob, you play with that as you see fit, depending on the guitar you're using. And what that does, it just tightens up that amp a little bit more, so there's less of, if you're really chugging along as far as a more metal or you want a tighter sound, that's what that overdrive is going to give you plugged into a JCM 800 or a Plexi or any Marshall type amp. Really recommending this pedal. This is the one Zach Wild and a lot of guys use with their Marshalls, and for good reason. It does what you want it to do as far as tighten up your sound and really, giving it that next level edge to it. So, but again, you don't turn the drive up on this pedal. You just turn the level way up, drive way down. I mean, you can turn the drive maybe 20%. I wouldn't go any past that, because then your sound will get a little fizzy. So that's the way that most people that kind of run that setup will run it this way. Now, the pedal I did decide to go with as far as the effects loop and ambience is the good old digital delay. The Boss digital delay is something I used as a teenager, believe it or not, when I started playing guitar and stuff. This was a pedal back in the 80s that was real popular, still popular today. It's a great delay pedal. And as you can see, the first knob there is set really low, and that's what's in the mix when I'm playing. So very little, just a little bit of delay in my sound is all I'm looking for. Nothing crazy as far as, having a bunch of delay, just enough to give it a little bit of ambience, makes it a little easier to play as well when you're hitting leads and things of that nature. So there it is. It's the DD3T. Say that 3 times fast. But that's what that pedal is, and it's a good pedal. I mean, again, it's probably, I think it's about 200 and change as far as Canadian money is. So Boss makes really good stuff, but sometimes you have to pay a little bit more for it. Now, the key to this whole setup, without this unit, it's pretty much impossible to run this setup the way that I'm running it, because like I said, that amp is crazy loud once you get it up in that level that I'm running it at. But this power station is a lifesaver. It is, you can see where my volume's at on that power station, and it is really loud in here with that. Now, if you turn that all the way to that means you'd be getting 50 watts tube coming out of that. It would be insanely loud. If I go a little bit past halfway, I'm probably running that full 20 watts of what that amp is putting out. And it's it's manageable as far as using it at this volume. It can probably go a little louder than that, and it'd be really loud in here. But I mean, it's still manageable. But anything past that halfway mark, you're talking using this in a live situation in a bigger room, maybe an outdoor festival or something like that, then it would be fine. But and then it has a few little things like the presence and depth on it, which kind of help you even sculpt your tone even a little further if you feel you need to. You could put those right up the middle there as far as the settings, and they wouldn't affect the tone at all. You just get the tone from the amp. I like to add a little presence and bring down the depth a bit, which the depth, all that is more for your cab than anything else, which gives it a lot more bass or less bass. And I just tone that down because my room has a lot of echo in it, because my floors, as you can see, there's no carpet in here, which I need to get soon, because without the carpet, the sound is really bouncing around in here. So you want to kind of tone down that bass a little bit so it's not so boomy. So that's what that is. And this is a Fryette power station. I think it's called the PS2. if you're looking for one. They are sold out pretty much everywhere that I've checked. I was lucky to get this one, but I think they'll probably be getting more in the summer. So if you're interested in that, you have tube amps, and you really want to get the most out of them, I highly recommend this unit. So, all right, let me go back here. Let me click on this. Let me go back to the chat real quick, and then we'll get to the guitar reveal. Some of you probably have gotten a few glimpses of something back there, and you're probably wondering, or probably know what it is. But who knows? You might not know what it is. Let me see. Let me go back down here a little bit on the chat since I was turned away from the chat and I didn't see it. So let's see. I'm just going to go real quick here just to see if I didn't miss anybody. Hey, Guitar Hack. Guitar Hack's in here. How are you, my friend? Yeah, I have looked at the Universal Audio stuff. They're pretty new. They just come out, right? So we don't even have access to them here anyway, where I am. I don't even know if Cosmo Music would have them. I checked their site. They didn't have anything in stock, said coming soon. So I don't believe they are released yet here, or if they are, there's not any available. So again, it's something that I would have to try. And if my local Long McQuaid can't get it, then it's kind of hard for me to try it. So, but we'll see. If I do want to get a reverb down the road, I would check them out for sure. Let's see. 10 Friedman goes to 11. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you want to run that Friedman up to that level, you better get yourself a Fryette power station, because it'll blow the hell out of you. It's crazy. That Marshall, I couldn't believe it, because I messed up once when I was setting it up, and I forgot to hit the bypass on. If you hit bypass on the Fryette, that means that the Fryette is not engaged, and it's just your amp right to the speaker. And I forgot to engage the Fryette, and I had that thing cranked, and I thought that it was, and then I turned the volume up on my guitar, and I hit a note. My wife was upstairs and yelled because it was so friggin' loud. It scared the shit out of me. So then I just turned it down, and then I put the Fryette on, and now I always have to remember to look at the Fryette to make sure that it is not in bypass mode, because man, that amp is just insanely loud. It sounds great. But I just can't stand in front of it, like a foot in front of that amp at that volume. It's just impossible. But man, it does sound good, which is why I want to run it at that volume on the amp, and then on the Fryette tone it down so I can get that tone. It still sounds the same. It's just less loud, and you still get the same feel, right? Because it's still tubes. It's all tube amps. It's not changing anything as far as that goes. All it is doing is giving you kind of a master volume to play with. That's what it's doing. All right, so I think we're there. Okay, so let's, most of you know I've been guitar hunting. I did buy the SG a few weeks ago, and it's been one of the guitars I've played the most, to be honest with you, in the last couple of weeks. But something came up on the interwebs that I've been searching for over a year and a half now for this elusive guitar that I've been speaking about, and I'll show you. Most of you probably know what it is by now as I'm speaking about it. But there's never any stock anywhere. It's very hard to get. Some places in the States had them, very, very expensive. And then I saw that they had 3 of them in the warehouse that came in a few weeks ago in Long McQuaid. 3 of them meaning 3 different colors, and one of the colors was what I was looking for. So I have a good buddy here that manages my local Long McQuaid music store, and I went to see him, and I said, I know you don't stock this stuff, but are you able to get this one in so that I can at least get my hands on it? I can't say for sure if I want to buy it or not until I get my hands on it, but, is that okay to do that? And he was, yeah, of course, no problem. So he was really accommodating, ordered the guitar in for me, and it took a few weeks to get here. It was supposed to be here last Saturday, it didn't come in, and this Saturday that just passed, it finally arrived. So I went to pick it up on Saturday. I've only had it here a couple of days and been playing with it. So I'm going to show you what it is, and we'll go from there. So let me switch my camera here, And what I'll probably end up, let me put my iPad on here so I can actually see the chat while I'm facing that way. So let me do this, this. All right, cool. I can see that. So give me 1 minute here. I'm just going to do something. All right. Just bear with me, folks. It's coming. Let me go back to the back camera. Here's the back camera. And let me put this in here. Oh, will that work? Probably not. There is a way of doing it. I haven't done it in a while. Hold on. Oh, okay. Just had to figure out how to snap it in. Okay, do that, and that. All right, so now I can see the chat. And you should be able to hear me, hopefully. Put this way so it doesn't fall. All right, folks, here it is. Been waiting a long time, and I guess we'll have a look at it. So, as you can see, it's that elusive white custom shop Strat relic. Well, relic. It's not overly relic. I mean, you've got a little bit of relicing here. It's got a lot of checking in it. So if you have, I can show you on the other camera a little bit up close. You can see in the paint, it's a very light nitro finish. So there is a lot of checking in it, which is really, really cool. The guitar looks amazing. The one thing that was kind of weird for me, because as you know, I like, for Fenders anyway, I like the back of the neck being sanded. And although you can see that this looks sanded, but there is a kind of a clear coat over this. So when I'm looking at the picture, I looked at the neck and I said, oh, okay, that's exactly what I want as far as the back of the neck goes. But there's still a light coat. It's not like my Telly where it's raw wood, basically, and that's what I wanted. It's not bad. I mean, it's still very smooth. The fretwork is amazing. I mean, it is totally nice and rounded. It feels really, really nice. So the neck itself isn't a real, I mean, again, I wish it was fully sanded without any, like a clear coat on it, but I can live with that. That's not a deal breaker for me at this point. And as far as, it looks great. It looks exactly like it. It is the exact guitar I wanted as far as the look goes. The white and the relicing is just the amount of relicing I was looking for. Even if it was a little bit more relic than this, it would be fine. The pickups sound amazing. It's a 5-way switch. Down here, you've got your regular things. Now, that's the good. You're probably saying, what do you mean the good? There's bad? There's bad? What the hell? Well, here's the deal. Me and Strats have had a love-hate relationship in the past, and I thought that I would be, once I found that right Strat or whatever the case may be, I would be able to adjust to the specific things that I didn't like about a Strat. And I would compensate with playing a little differently maybe, or approaching the instrument a little differently than I do my Les Pauls and my other guitars, right? Well, it's this, right? It's primarily the way that I play, where that volume knob is, and I've said this in the past, and many of you have heard me say it, and it's ridiculous to think that out of all the Strats that I've played, that I would think that I could, just adjust and play differently. But it's very hard to do when you're, you play the way you play, and and that's just how you feel comfortable playing. But so I've been playing the guitar for a couple of days, trying to different things and everything. So here's the expect the unexpected part of this broadcast. I'm not keeping the guitar, which is, a shocker for some of you, probably looking at this thing going, wow, this is a beautiful guitar, and it's exactly what I've been looking for. I've been talking about this for many, many, many months, been searching online, almost bought a few of them from places in the States that would have been, even more expensive than what I would be paying for this one if I were to keep it. But after playing it and just, for what it is, as far as a custom shop and what and I'll be honest with you, what this price is in Canadian money is $5,100 plus tax. This is what this guitar costs here. But if I'm going to have a guitar that I'm going to pay that much that much money for, and I'm going to want to play just as much as I play Les Pauls and my other guitars, I've got to be 100% in. And I just can't get there. I've tried this weekend, I've played it, and it's just, that when you play something, you just do not gel with it. There is something, and for me, it's primarily where this knob is. There's a few different things. I mean, it plays great. The neck feel is good, but again, that clear coat, if I'm going to pay that much money, if this wasn't a bother, would I still keep it because of the neck not being exactly what I wanted as far as the finish on the back? Maybe, but again, you want to get exactly what you want when you're paying that type of money, and for me, I just couldn't get there. So yeah, so let me look here a little bit. Yeah, Guitar X says that sucks. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, as much as when I picked this thing up on Saturday and I looked at it in the case and everything, I was like, man, this is beautiful. I'm so happy I brought it home. And within a couple of hours of playing it, even my wife could tell. She's there, you're not feeling that, eh? And then I would pick up my Les Paul after it and I would play with the Les Paul, which is a completely different thing. But, I could tell the comfort level is completely different. And I just couldn't get there. Now, the one thing that, this is dumb me again, I did have a Strat, which was a Friedman, over a year now ago, or probably a year and a half ago, a red one. I don't know if you guys remember, if you were watching my channel back then, I've shown that one and I've played that on some videos. And I really, really got along well with that one, which I should have kept because I did get Strat tone out of that because it had 2 single coils and a humbucker. And with the single coils that it had, I could get that quack and that sound. And it had a beautiful sanded neck, and they didn't have a volume button here. It was only 2 knobs, and it was down here, and it didn't affect me when I played. I should have kept that guitar. It was a stupid mistake. I've been going back and forth with different guitars back then, and I had to sell something to get something else, which is why that one left. And I told myself if I get another Strat, it's going to be an official Fender Strat, because when I did sell the Friedman, I took a loss on it, because that's one thing if you're buying a boutique guitar like a Friedman or a Sir or something like that, market value is not going to be the same, because it's not it's a good brand. It's a beautiful, they're known for making great equipment, but in the general market, when you're selling a Fender or a Gibson or a PRS, people know that, and you're probably going to have more better results selling it. So I told myself when I got another Strat, it would be an official Fender, and it would be exactly what I want. It would be a custom shop, blah, blah, blah. But even at that, I still can't get my head around playing it comfortably because of this. And I really, really wanted to. I really wanted to, but that's where that is. So let me see. Brian S. says, that's the same way I felt with the new Telecaster. There was that no bonding moment. And that's what happened here. I just was not. Is the Friedman Strat coming back? Funny you say that, Guitar Hack, because after last night I was actually looking around and I did find one, and it's in Canada, and it's white just like this one, a little bit of relic and a little bit of checking. It's beautiful and everything. So I do have an eye on one, Friedman Strat, so that may be what ends up happening. I don't know. I will have to see and see if I can make that happen or not. But right now, I'm not sure. But this one is going back, unfortunately, and I'm really happy that my buddy was kind enough to order it in and get it for me. And I know he's going to be a little disappointed that I didn't end up buying it, but I did buy an SG from him a few weeks ago, and I'm buying some pedals from him, and I will probably buy a lot more stuff from him in the future. So I'm sure he's fine with it. But yeah, it is what it is. The other thing with the Strats was I really wanted a Strat type of instrument when I'm recording, because when you're recording guitar tracks, it's nice to have a combination of tones to blend in and mix everything together, which makes a really cool mix and a sound for your guitars. Because I do that with my Tele and my Les Pauls all the time on all the guitar tracks or all the original music that I've written and recorded. I've put a left and right track of a Les Paul and a left and right track of a Tele, and I blended those through and it works great. And then maybe I was doing a solo with the Tele, and maybe another track, it was a Les Paul P90 that was doing the solo. Well, the Strat is nice to have in that mix to bring in. So, but again, if I really want to do that and I just want an instrument that I can pick up real quick and do a quick little track for recording, I don't need a custom shop to do that. I can buy a Mexican Strat and get the same results as far as the recording, but I wanted something that was going to be that ultimate Strat and everything, just the way that the custom shops Les Pauls are for me. But so we'll see what happens. If I do end up going with that Friedman, it will give me everything I need in a Strat, so that'll have that covered. That's unfortunate, but it would be cool. Such an expensive, yeah, that's the thing, right? It is an expensive guitar, so you got to make sure that you're going to bond with it if you're going to do that. And Geppetto says, yeah, buy a cheap Squire or learn to play a Strat. It needs to be played. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I don't play Strat, so when you pick one up, it feels uncomfortable, and then you try to play it the same way you're playing your Les Pauls, and you're hitting that volume, and it just doesn't, you don't bond with it the way that you do other guitars maybe, and that's kind of a sign saying, well, maybe it's not the right thing for you. Friedman does make an SS Vintage with 2 knobs. Yeah. So that might be an option. But the one I did see, it has a humbucker and 2 single coils, which I'm totally fine with as well, because I had one and it sounded amazing and it played amazing. The neck was great. So I regret selling that one, just like I regretted selling the SG, which I got another SG now. So it happens. It's part of the journey. It's part of the fun and finding what really works for you and diving into that and focusing on that. So let me just, I'll show you a little bit closer on this guitar anyway. So now that I have it in my hands, that I can show you a little bit of the finish so that you can see it is a beautiful guitar. But let me just turn around. Let's go to the main cam. All right. So I don't know if you can see the checking right there. It's hard to see because it's white, but you can see there's a lot of checking in that. There you go. In the white there, right? So it's really thin sheet of finish on it as far as the nitro finish goes. And then if you look at the back of this neck, if you look at it on a picture without this bright light here, it just looks like a sanded neck, which is what I was looking for. But there is, with the light shining on it, you can kind of see there is a coating on it, which isn't directly on the wood like my Tele would be. So there's the back of it. So just a little bit of light, and you can see a lot more of the checking on that. So again, beautiful guitar. I love the look of it. I love the sound of it. It sounds great, but playing it wise, I'm just not. It's just not for me, I guess. Brian says the Truman will be here soon. Maybe you order exactly what you want. Yeah, that's the other option. I could custom order something, but I'm really leaning towards that Friedman right now because I had one. I know what they're all about. They're great guitars. And so I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to rush it. Again, this wasn't rushed. This was looking for something like this for many years now, or for a couple of years, I would say, that exact Strat. But at the end, I found it and played it, and the irony of it is it's just not for me. So anyway, let me put this away, and we'll get on with it. Okay, so there you go. That was the big reveal of the guitar that almost was. It's a looker for sure, yeah. And it feels great as far as the weight of it. It's very light, and like I said, the finish is really nice. All right. So I say we finish off the stream tonight with the jam that I promised. I think it was Dogpaw that I promised that I would play Whitesnake for this week, since I played AC/DC last week. And when I make a promise, I like to keep it. So we're going to get that ready to rock and roll. And next week, there won't be a show because it is a holiday here in Canada, and I'll probably be out and doing something outdoors. I've been going out in the woods with my UTV, or side-by-side, they call it, and my motorcycles on the weekends. So we'll probably be out most of the weekend. It's supposed to be really nice weather in the whole week it's supposed to be really nice. So it is a holiday that day. So I'm going to take that Monday off, and because I don't know what time I'll be getting home and everything. So it'll be a few weeks before, not this coming Monday, but the next one after. We'll be back to regular Mondays. And we'll go from there. There'll be much more stuff to talk about. I'll get more familiar with the gear that I've got, and any additions that I make to that rig, we will go over. I mean, there are a few other additions that I like to do. I might even try to incorporate some of the Helix within that FX loop to maybe use some of the chorus and some other stuff that Helix might have as a 4-cable method or something. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to design 2 separate rigs. My Helix is one thing, and then that amp with actual analog pedals is the other. The goal is to have that amp set up that I can just load up in my truck and go somewhere with and jam with friends, or if I'm going to play a gig or something, then I can just bring that and, really simple. I've got my couple of pedals, amp, and that's it. So that's kind of the goal, putting that amp together in that setup. So, hey, Mitch is late. That's okay. You can watch the replay. You might have missed the big guitar reveal, but I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you watch it in the replay. Geppetto says that's cool. Strat is what it is. If you don't like the volume control, there are other guitars to look at. Exactly. Again, it's just, before you get something like that, it's in your head, right? You think that that's going to be the perfect guitar and it's going to be the be all and end all, and then you've got to really get it in your hands and play it, and you'll know as soon as you play something whether or not you bond with it, and it's that, it's that special guitar that you thought it would be, and in many factors it is, but there are some limiting factors, very important factors, being the feel and the bond with the instrument and the playability of it with your style that might not be. And that's what happened here. So you just got to accept it and you move on, and it is what it is. Again, Brian, I would get the black mint greens plate, get rid of the tone knob, replace. Yeah, but see, then I'm going to start modifying a guitar that I really don't want to start modifying. It's at that price range. I really don't want to start, tweaking it to that level. I might as well just buy a Mexican Strat and just do whatever I want to it at that point, if that's really where I want to go. But I kind of know where I want to go now because I had it and I sold it, and then now I just got to find that exact one that I want as far as the coloration goes. I know the feel of the guitar. I know the sound of the guitar. I know the quality of the instrument because I had one, the Friedman one. And if I could find that, then that's probably the way I go with, as long as it's a reasonable deal, All right. So let's, like I said, promised the Whitesnake song. So let's have a look at that. Let's see if I have to bring it up here. Search. We've got that. All right. So we've got that ready to rock and roll. Okay. Let me just figure my setup here. And we are playing the custom. But I know Guitar Hack, you don't like the gold, but it's a custom. And a custom has gold. so let me bring up my other cam. There we go. And I need my pick. Where's my pick? There it is. This pick here. And I need to do that. And I need to do that. And again, with an amp, you're going to hear a lot of noise because it... So, yeah, that's the amp by itself. All right, so make sure I don't blow out anything here with this mic. Let me put this mic on mute and get my volume up here. I don't know if that's right, but let's do that. So again, keeping my promise to Dog Paw that I was going to play White Snake. It is a White Snake song, but it's not White Snake singing it because I don't want to get the video blocked. But anyway, here we go.
In the still of the night, I hear the wolf honey sniffing around your door. In the still of the night, I hear my heart beating heavy, telling me I gotta have more. In the shadow of night, I see the full moon rise, telling me what's in store. My heart starts shaking, my body started aching, and I just can't take no more. Waiting for the night to come.
There you go. Promise kept. So there you go. You can't say I didn't keep my promise of playing Whitesnake. Okay, so Monday Night Ramble is now officially reached the end. Thanks for joining me tonight, folks. It's been a pleasure to play for you and to show you some cool gear, and again, show you the Strat that was not to be, I guess. We thought it was going to be the one. Well, it happens. So, again, next week, no show next week. We got a holiday coming up, so we're going to take the Monday off and go enjoy some outdoors time. And next, I guess in 2 weeks, we'll meet up again. We'll see if there's anything new that comes into the studio, and we'll show you that. And if not, we'll just carry on with some cool stuff to look at and maybe to talk about. And I'll let you know how my COVID vaccine ends up going. It happens tomorrow, so if I make it through that, then I think I'll be okay. But I'll let you guys know either way. So thanks for joining me tonight, folks. And until next time, pick up a guitar, play some guitar, have some great fun, and you know how it goes. We'll talk to you next time.